Okay, just about live on Facebook. Ta-da! It worked. Apologies for anyone that tuned in yesterday. We got about 1 minute in and it somehow kicked us off. I don't know what happened, but we did put up the MP4 afterwards, so you can go back and check it out now. So it's also on the YouTube channel, by the way, guys. If you're watching this on Facebook, make sure you go and join my YouTube channel. I'll put it in the comments below because all of these videos are in order in the YouTube channel. So it'll be really easy for you to grab and see. And by all means, subscribe. That's the word I'm looking for. Subscribe on there, because any of these types of videos we do, we're going to put them up there so you'll be able to see them, and you can sign the little bell and it'll alert you. So in the meantime, welcome to For Feck's Sake Marketing Adventures, where we tell you the things we're doing, we're trying, or things that we've discovered so that you don't have to, basically. So you don't have to go into the mistakes and errors. So this week we've been talking all about the words, the language, and in particular about why, if you do some kind of a promo post or something that's a call to action, why are you getting crickets, and what you need to do about it. So yesterday we talked about the number one mistake, and that was because you're not using your words and you're not using them in a certain structure. So today, what are we talking about, Sarah?
Well, actually, today we're talking about the number one mistake. But yesterday was the number one thing that doesn't cost money.
Yes.
To get better, to develop the skills. So that was the copywriting. Did a little overview on that. Yeah. And then today we're talking about the biggest mistake when it comes to writing those hashtag freebie posts or, doing your organic marketing strategy, and why you're probably, if you're struggling to get leads out of them, maybe some things to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, this comes from a lot of trial and error, and we're going to show you an example, if you hang in there today, of a post I did and the results I got from it. Now, it's a bit different than what I do now in terms of the message I have now, but it came from a message that I was studying at the time, and I thought, let's throw this out here and see what happens. And oh my God, I was blown away. But I had several other posts that had crickets before this. Well, we did it in the structure. So we're going to actually tomorrow teach you a 6-step structure. We're going to share it with you tomorrow about how this happens. But today we're just going to talk about the number one. And I'll say that again, the number one. And I had a call with somebody today and they said, check this, do this, look up your website, look at this. And the number one mistake that everyone's making is they're talking to them freaking selves. That's it. You're talking about yourself. Hey, look what I could do. Look what I could show you. They're consuming their own message. Oh, I would like to see that. I'm going to be really blunt here. Do you think that'll be okay, Sarah? Who cares what you like?
So you're going to put a feck in there.
I was going to put a feck. I was going to say something else, but I paused just in case. Who cares? Nobody actually cares what you do. And I mean that respectfully, of course, they care a little bit about you, but in general, they're coming to you because they have an urgent problem and they think you're going to fix it. So if you are in your posts or in your copy or in your content, just talking about me, without any strategy behind it as to how it connects with them, then it's not going to connect. Now, when I say talking about you, there are times to tell story. We've talked about that the other day. There are times to tell story, but in a structured way that that story is actually their story. But they don't want to say it out loud. So when you kind of are telling a similar story about, the trials and tribulations and the up and down and that sort of thing, then they'll connect with it. So there is time to talk about yourself, but don't talk about yourself just so that you can feel good about it. It's with a strategy behind it. Would you like to add to that, Sarah?
Yeah, I think that's key. Like we talk about making sure that whatever you write is me-centric to them, not you. So, and it's funny, we do that, like it's kind of drilled into us, like we're both from hospitality or retail background. It's like, it's always about the customer comes first, and the customer's always right. In which case we're actually always thinking of the other person, even though we know what we need to do as a service provider and a business, we're always meeting them where they are in that moment. And somehow we forget to translate that actually into marketing and online sales as well. And that it's meeting them where they are in that moment rather than where we are and what we're trying to like announce to them or put on them to consider. And it's really asking, and we talked about it yesterday, the profound difference between what is it that I want to say, because often we get, you know, in a bit of that panic or overwhelm of like, oh, I don't know what to write in my post. I don't know what to write in my email. And that's actually all about us. That's our own crap. And then that gets all caught up then in the messaging, and we end up forgetting that this message is actually like a part of a conversation with someone. And like you were saying, when someone's coming at you and talking about themselves to you, most people tune out. It's got nothing to do with me, you know, like it's not about me. That's all about you and how great you are. Awesome. What does that even mean to me?
Yeah.
So we've really got to be thinking about, especially for this organic marketing strategy, where you might be putting your lead magnet, we talked about that a few weeks ago, out into a group of new people potentially, or you've made a few contacts. It's really important that you're not just kind of putting your for sale sign up and walking around going, look at me, I've got something to sell.
I love that picture.
Free, you know, like, you know, something for free is not actually a selling point.
Yeah.
We think, oh, it's free, that's enough. There's no value explained or described in a free thing. So we need to make sure that we're meeting them and where they're at. And so the other thing we've got to think about in these posts is, okay, so if we're not making it about us, check that box. It's like, well, the first thing we all know we've got to do on social media is grab attention. We're competing with everything else in their newsfeed or whatever's popping up at that moment. So if we think about the 3 different ways, more or less, that we can stimulate attention in the brain. And
I just want, sorry to interrupt you, Sarah, I just want to make a difference here between when we talk about the brain, we're not just talking about that logical reading, oh yeah, I see that, that seems to be good kind of brain. We're talking about the real decision brain, which decisions are made from an emotional perspective. So they're not just made from a, oh yeah, now, look, I'm going to put, there's always exception to a rule. Sometimes people are walking around with the free. You will get people that will negate it because they have this FOMO going on. Oh my God, if I don't get that free thing. But it'll stay as shelf development. They'll never act on it. They'll never do any more. They're just out there gathering because they feel like they're missing out on something. So if you're, we're not saying that you'll never get anyone if you just do the free, but you won't get it that it's a sustainable way to build your business. They won't come back unless you have some serious value to add that actually talks to them. It will remain as that shelf development. So just know the difference between that logical brain. We quite often make a decision and then we talk ourselves into it or we talk ourselves out of it. But if that reptilian brain, that basic brain has not made the decision, there's no amount of talking yourself into it that will do it. So you have to get that emotional, yes, you quite often made a decision, I'm sure you have too, Sarah, you see it, because quite often we know as marketers underneath the copy or the video or whatever has actually talked to us, we've gone, yes, like that. Now that isn't made because we've logicked it, it's made from back here. Sometimes there's an emotion or a need or something being answered in those words or that video, which we've talked about video as well, that has talked directly to me. So I just wanted to kind of make that difference between the 2 ways that we make decisions. It's not just a, oh, I think I'll go buy something that we think about. It quite often happens unconsciously, doesn't it?
And look, logic comes into it, but it's not the first thing. So when you lead with who you are and how great you are and your qualifications and how many years experience, like that's all the logical stuff that we might need to make a larger purchasing decision just to make sure we're working with the right person. But when we lead with that on our entry point, we're instantly putting the kind of blurry lenses up on people. We're like, I don't care about you. And we move on to something else that's more tension.
And it's a no is a no is a no. You have to get the first yes and then logic it into place. Yeah. Awesome.
So if we think of that primal brain and then what it's actually wired to receive and what's going to grab its attention, there's 3 main things. And those 3 main things are pain, pleasure, and novelty.
Yeah.
So when we're thinking of our lead magnet, when we're thinking of maybe even the headline we're going to give it, when we think of is it a PDF or a webinar or video, whatever that is, we've got to kind of think, what are we going to lead with? Are we providing novelty to get someone to stop scrolling and be like, oh, I've never seen this before. This looks really interesting. Yeah. Are we going to be solving a problem or a pain for someone? So that's going to stimulate them because they're going to resonate and be like, I've got that problem too. Look, someone solved it. I need this. Or are we going to target a pleasure, like how to get something they've always wanted in a quick, easy way? So I think we can overcomplicate these posts. And I know you and I have gone down rabbit holes with these things of overcomplicating. What really needs to be a very simple, we call it the sliver problem often, don't we? Or you say Panadol problem or the urgent problem. So if we looked at the pain problem, we would be like, I bet, Carmel, let's put you as an example, that you could solve many problems for someone who's got an online business. Yeah. So, and this is one of the mistakes I see, is that someone who might be in marketing or online or social media marketing, something like that, is they'll go out and they'll do something like, hey, come in and get a 30-minute free call with me and I'll help you with your online marketing. So look, that might get a couple of people in, but it doesn't promise to solve anything. It's making the person do work in their brain because they're like, online marketing is a big topic and a potentially big problem, and there's a lot of problems within it. So we're not quite sure, oh, do I really want to like book a time and pick up the phone? Do they know anything about Facebook ads? I don't know. Like it turns into this logical conundrum, and nobody, like, you just end up going, I'm too scared to book because I don't know if they're actually going to fix a problem I have right now. And if we compared it, say, Carmel, I know a couple of our lead magnets that are out at the moment, if we did one like the top 5 videos to use in your marketing right now to get more leads, that is talking directly to someone who's sitting there going, I need to make video. Yeah. Or I need more leads.
And I don't know which one. Yeah.
But so I think as professionals and as experts in things, we're actually experts in a lot of problem solving. The hardest thing for us is to narrow it down to one thing.
Spot on.
And when we think about that, it's because we have that, what's it called, the unconscious competence, where we think that one slither problem, everyone knows how to do that.
Yeah, like, because we know it so well. What's wrong with you?
You can just Google and find out how to do that. Yeah. People don't have time. Like, you providing the answer quick, easy now, right now in their newsfeed saves them time often from going down and having.
And it's like that in hospitality, as you said, we were both in it. So we could look at, a table and know if somebody wasn't happy, if somebody wasn't whatever. And know it so quickly because it was an unconscious competence. One thing, just before we go on to deeper a little bit on those 3, I've heard people say, oh my God, I hate when people start, trigger the pain and they talk about that. So now here's the thing. You don't have to trigger this massive pain. What you do is you talk to their problem. You talk to that sliver/Panadol problem that they have, and you say, hey, here you go. I see you, I hear you, whatever language we use, depending on who your ideal client is. Here's a solution, step, and you step them in and you transition them over to, well, here's a possible solution. So it doesn't have to be poke them in the eye with the pain, but it's mirroring to them, this is the pain. We see you, we hear you, come with us and we can help you.
It's calling it out and saying, look, you're not the only one with it. Come over here. We found a solution. Here's, and that's where you can say, here's how I found, or here's how I overcame that challenge, right?
Yeah. And that's where you come into it.
Yeah, that's where you come into it. But again, it's if they've got that problem, they're going to look and their attention's going to be focused on your post as opposed to a cat video or a cooking show or whatever else is popping up in their newsfeed. So I think, like, just for a quick little tip for each one, if you're thinking of maybe targeting a pleasure, we could look at something like the top 10 tips to something positive that your avatar wants. So for us, could be the top 10 tips to get a promo post that works, a promo post that converts to more leads every week or something like that. So that's the pleasure. It's still underneath it, we're talking to a pain, but we're being more direct to the positive outcome.
To what they're going to get out of it.
Yeah. The pain one is like, we're going to go with the problem. You could be doing more like a how-to sort of headline, maybe like how to avoid something, or how to
get more clients and not have to sit on your computer all day.
Yeah, how to get more clients without networking and wasting hours every day on a Zoom call, maybe. I don't know. Like, that's how specific you can get to a problem. Knowing your avatar, you will know that, there's a lot of people out there that might have that challenge. So,
And then for novelty is AKA the purple cow effect. Purple cow, what? You think purple cow? It's literally, who sees a purple cow when you're driving along the bloody street? You don't see the, driving along the countryside, you don't see a purple cow. And if you can imagine for a moment that you're going along and you're seeing, you're looking out, there's sheep on this side of the road, there's cattle this side of the road, and you're going, oh, I'm in the country, and you suddenly see a bloody purple cow in the middle of it, you're going to go, what did I just see? That's what it is because quite often, especially on Facebook. So if people are on YouTube, they're going to go in and look for something more than likely. But on Facebook, they're scrolling and we're doing it with our phone quite often. What's going to stop them? So it's novelty. I saw one ad just recently where it's two little babies, one running to the other, and they have a little sign over them. One is your ideal client, running to the other.
I think I've seen that one.
Yeah, but the little babies run to each other. You go, what is this? Just for a moment. And that's all you need, because if you can get their eyes on your post for that moment and you are actually talking directly to them, they will stay. They will hear what
and look, you remembered that post. Out of how many posts have you seen or ads that you've seen, and the imagery, the novelty of that has stuck on your mind, and then you talked about it. I can't even remember the product now. I know the post you're talking about. And that's the power of marketing and messaging and those images that can connect emotionally. We now know if we saw that again, we would definitely be clicking through, because now we've even talked about it, right? So there's so many.
And the other one is that I do remember.
I think it was Facebook ads, actually.
Peng Joon, I'm pretty sure it is. He talks about the ugly video. So he's a guy, and you're flicking through, and he has this bloody stupid face mask on. You go, what the bloody hell are you doing? And it stops you for a moment. Whether you buy or you don't buy, start paying attention to what stops you, because that will give you idea into what will stop other people too.
I think with novelty, the interesting thing with that is we can't just do novelty and stop. It has to be backed up with value. And that's where you could waste a lot of time and energy on Facebook trying to get those funky, funny videos and all that. But if you don't actually have something of substance and a problem you're solving, or something of value underneath that novelty, then you'll probably run into, you might get leads potentially, but whether they're going to be qualified leads that are actually going to spend.
And that probably comes back to where we talk about the foundation. I've been listening to some tapes, some recordings, where it's like you have to rebuild your foundation. If the foundation you have has got you to where you are, that's great. But is that the right foundation to get you to the next level? So it's like building a house versus the Empire State Building. There's a big difference in what foundationally you need underneath. So sometimes it's not about getting rid of stuff or anything like that. It's just creating new habits and new foundations. So as Sarah says, when you get somebody to pay attention, that there is substance underneath it. Otherwise, they're just going to go in and out. And look, I know that from years. I have humongous lists and emails and things like that, but they were from way back. So, trying to talk to them now is chalk and cheese, because they were not people that had come into that list with me with any substance. And then, of course, by the time you come back, and that's what we did in the old days, put them on an Excel list and don't communicate with them at all. And then you come back a few years later, go, ta-da! They go, shut up.
Who are you again?
Yeah.
Just on an aside, I love it when you suddenly get an email from someone and it's like, I have no idea who you are. And you actually have to go and Google them to find out whether you should unsubscribe or not. Like, I've been doing that a lot lately. And these are from people who are running, successful online businesses, but it just goes to show, like, those foundations across these different tools and strategies. You need your foundation for social media marketing. You need your foundation for email, so that you're not just leaving people high and dry. They grab your PDF and then it's, a year later where suddenly you're like, oh yeah, I've now got a list of 200 people. What am I going to send them? It's like, it's this like transition between the different mediums and the different vehicles, which is
and more than that is that when you then have scaled it and you get this onslaught, that the foundation will sustain it. We've spent a lot of time putting in all of the back end stuff. So, you know, it looks like on the outside, oh, we're doing this, that, and the other, but we're on the inside going like this. So that if we got 100 people in right now, our system is designed to sustain it. If we got 1,000 people, the same thing, same thing, same thing. There is a foundation there that we've been putting struts in. We've been putting more and more in, so that there won't be any wobble. I'm not saying things don't go wrong or you get, you know, little hiccups, or as I used to call them in hospitality, there's always going to be bushfires, no matter how much I'm organized, but you put them out quite quickly. But without that foundation, I have no doubt 6 years ago that if I had had an influx of members, I just wouldn't have been able to cope with it.
Yeah, and that comes down to the automation.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
It's coming down to building out the systems and processes. Let's have a look at your example, because we went a little off track there, because, you know, we're so passionate about this online marketing stuff.
We do, and it's not about us. So I'm going to show you an example, and the example I'm going to show you is, so a little bit of kind of background on it, I suppose. So one of the studies that I've done, because, you know, we all do lots of different studies, but one of the studies I did was a modality called psychosomatic therapy. And I'm not going to go into it or let that go, Google it, but generally it means your body is talking, are you listening? And part of that was that you can read a face. And one part of the face read, so I'm going to chunk it right down, was what we call a face split. So the ability to be able to split the face in half, put two left sides together, two right sides, there's an enormous amount of information you can get from that. And I thought, oh, and when we were in Vietnam, I actually did it in a group of business owners in Vietnam, and I got some rave reviews, and I went, maybe there's something in this. Now, we talked about the 3 different ways. So this way was novelty. It's not something you see out there very often. I'm going to show you why it was novelty now in a moment. And what I did was put an offer out in a structured way. Remember, we're going to tell you the structure tomorrow. I put the offer out in a structured way, and I created scarcity 2 by saying there's only 7 people can have this call. And you'll see when I show you now, there was over 30 comments on it. We had to shut the comments off. So let me share that one with you right now. Just hit the old share screen. Make sure I share the right screen.
I just need to apologize. I have a very hungry cat that's beside me, so you may hear him yowling throughout this.
That's okay. So yes, I am going to magnify it, guys, don't worry. But I just wanted to show you, this was the length of the post. This is how it appeared in a Facebook group, and you can see down here, and it was show me your face. So, you know, the picture's going to hit them first, and the headline. So let me just go a little bit here. So this was the actual picture. So I have first 7. So this is the first thing they see. Show me your face, and I'll show you what you can tweak to bring that spark back to you and your business. Now, 31 comments, as you can see down here. There was only a spot for 7 people. Let me go right up to the top till I show you. So this statement came from one of my ideal clients. They actually said it. I just feel like everyone has a bloody opinion, but nobody will give me the solution. That's physically what she said. So I used that headline to see if I could, and it worked, as you can see. And then we just, again, I'll leave it till tomorrow to put the structure on it, but you can see then if somebody is listening to that or that calls to them, underneath the next sentence is the solution that could tell you what's missing, spark, that would bring that longed for balance in your business life, because I know that's what they're doing. And then again, curiosity, or my God, my words have gone again, was, well, what if it was novelty, if it was literally written all over your face? Like that, it's like, what? People go, what? And you can see the different text, the different size of it, the way we're getting it to stand out as well. And then, only then will show me your face, and I'll tell you what you can tweak to bring that back. Now, I had tried other posts as well, with show me your face, and I'll tell you what's going on in your business. They were quite successful too. And then I just went into a little bit more of pain, but not prodding the pain, but saying, I see you. You know, when you want to come out of the shadows because you're tired of doing what you're doing, I'm quite specific, knowing who it is I'm talking to. You need more clients, but you seem to be spinning your wheels between motivation and exhaustion. Exactly. It wears you down. You've been visiting here for so long and you keep overthinking things. Sarah will attest to my overthinking. And this is really key here into what my ideal client in particular is: confident exterior. So I have a group called Strong Women Network. It's all about confident exterior is just what other people see. She's the person that people come to for their problems. But inside, there's quite often still that shaky dialogue saying, you don't know what you're doing at all. But she never lets it out. She wouldn't go necessarily to a confidence workshop. Somebody asked me earlier, hey, I've got confidence workshops I want for all these high-powered women. I'm going, they're not going to go.
They don't want to admit that
they don't want to admit they haven't got, that they've got confidence issues. So and they feel like they've nowhere to go because they're always the strong one for everyone else. So that's why, you're a strong human. So they take responsibility. So look, I'm not going to go all into it, but you can see.
This is actually really good. keep going. I think it's great. I'm loving it. I'm like re-experiencing it right now. Like, it's awesome.
Well, they do know that they're strong. So like highly intelligent women, and I know most of you are highly intelligent, and men, I'm not discriminating here. Quite often we know that we have intelligence. We have no doubt if we got the right help that we can do what we need to do. But we just feel sometimes we have that inner voice of, if only I had somebody to hold my hand, if only there was some help. And that's where this question comes in. Well, what if you did know what was blocking you? So therefore the answer is, well, if I did know, I'd bloody fix it. Cool. And how you could make, and I've been very specific with the small changes. Because everyone's promised you everything, but they don't tell you there's humongous changes and mountains to jump over. And these were small changes. And this is the truth. The 30-minute session has been so popular that I'm bringing it back. That's why I brought it back, because the last one sold out. Comment I want below, 7 spaces available. And this here, because people kept forgetting to send me their photo, so I just added in that kind of thing here. And then that was 31 comments for 7 options.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Tomorrow we can break that down into what the 6 steps were that was used to write that post. Now, if you've heard me say it before, I'm a brain dumper. What do I want to say? Then I go, well, what do they need to hear? And then I put it into the formula we're going to share with you tomorrow. And that's the result of this. Now I'm going to stop sharing now. Cool. So people have asked me before, what is it? As I say, you wouldn't see me doing a face read necessarily now, but I still do them. But I don't put posts out about it that often anymore, actually. Maybe I should. Maybe they should, and just check if the results would be the same, purely as a test and measure. So, but I got people on the call from that easily enough. Now, as I said, tomorrow, I'm just making sure I have to write some notes, because as you can see, we get quite passionate about this stuff, and we could talk all day about it. But tomorrow is going to be the 6 steps, the 6-step structure to stop you from staring at that screen and going, what do I write? Because you know this stuff. Or you've written a post before, but you've gone, right, it might not be in the right structure. You can go back and take that now and put it into this structure. And I promise you will see the gaps if there's any. Or if not, you will go, that part actually talks to this bit, that part talks to this bit. And then it's just a massaging it out. So it actually does talk. This is where the logical brain comes in a bit, because it needs to be able to follow a story. It can't follow the story and has to overthink. It's like 2 heart baskets. See you later. I can't do that. So there's a lot of stuff going on underneath. Sarah, what else do I need to cover before we do tomorrow?
No, I think that was great today. I loved going back through that post. That's how coffee does it for me.
Not about you, sir.
But yeah, no, look, tomorrow we're going to highlight, you were talking about how do we approach pain without just sticking someone in the eye.
Yeah.
And I've given the 6 steps some interesting names, which I think helps people really connect with them, and then have them at their forefront when they're writing to their avatar, because we're not trying to put people into a bad emotional state. We want them to enjoy our writing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to revealing what the 6 steps are and the names that I've given them so we can remember them better.
I don't even know what name she's given them. So there you go. I'll be in your chair tomorrow. So guys, we trust that you're enjoying this. If you have any questions from anything we're talking about, put them in the comments below. Whether you're on Facebook, you're watching this on LinkedIn or on YouTube, put the comments below. We'll make sure that we answer them, or if it's too hard to answer them in a quick text, well, they will do another video for it. We'll do that. If you're on YouTube, as I say, subscribe and put on the alert so that every time we upload a new video, that you could be alerted, because the videos we're putting up there are going to be interviews and they're going to be value-added tips. So make sure that you tune in, same time tomorrow, which is 2 p.m. Australian Western Standard Time. And Sarah froze there for a minute like this.
Waving.
She froze. But for now, guys, it is bye from us. She's frozen again.